Hello, everyone. The $1 million question is, what is this place? Excuse me. What is this place? What is this place? Uh, we know that we've been lied to about what this physical world is, the physical world that we live in. It has been proven by modern researchers and scientists that the earth is not shaped like a sphere. It is, in fact, level, flat. Of course, with mountains and valleys and hills and rivers and all that. We've also discovered in recent years that there are reality changes, shifts, what people call the Mandela effect, where history changes. And of course, that should be impossible. We've also discovered in recent years that most likely they're lying to us about the presence of the continent Antarctica. Excuse me. They're lying to us about the fact that Antarctica is there. If you look at most flat Earth maps, they will show that the reality, that all of creation is being held in, so to speak, by Antarctica, which is shaped circularly on a flat Earth map, as opposed to a big continent island that is on the globe Earth map. Okay. In recent years, we've discovered that Antarctica is probably not even there. As crazy as that sounds, if you look at the footage and everything they tell us about Antarctica, it doesn't add up. We're also seeing evidence of strange things in the skies that are ramping up more and more as time goes by. Um, the image you're looking at right now on screen is a picture I took in the early 90s of a wire hanging over the city of Albuquerque. And it's so high up, it's impossible to say what's holding it up because there was no structures that tall in Albuquerque at that time or now in those directions, in the direction that that wire seems to be going in. Of course, I'm calling it a wire, but I really don't know what it is. I took this picture. I wish I had gotten in the car and followed this wire or whatever it is and taken more pictures. But uh, this is what we have. It's evidence that there's something going on in the skies above that we don't know about. So all these things, flat Earth, Mandela effect, the non-existence of Antarctica, and strangeness in the skies like this, some kind of high strangeness, we don't know what this reality is. So, you know, a lot of ideas are on the table, but more and more I'm starting to think that maybe this place is some kind of terrarium. Like if you had a pet lizard or a pet snake, you'd put them in this what looks like a fish aquarium, but there's no water. You just throw some dirt on the bottom. You throw in a couple of rocks and make it look like uh, like their world, and you put the snake in there, and that's kind of like maybe what's happening to us. You know, there's no evidence of a dome above. I've always been quick to point that out, but you never know. What if there's something above that's like the lid of a terrarium or an aquarium? Maybe this place, I still believe that physical reality is infinite. I've said that many times, but maybe there's a larger part of that, a smaller part of that is that's enclosed the way a terrarium is. And all the ideas are on the table. We don't know what this place is because we were lied to about everything. And that's what this channel is mostly about. If you're new, I know that I have a lot of new viewers. And that's mostly what this channel is about, is just trying to figure out what this world is because we've been lied to about everything. All right, let's get on with the show. Today is July 21st, 2025. It is 9:13 p.m. here in Albuquerque. That means it's a quarter after 11 on the East Coast. It is Monday night. The week is just starting. Hope everything's cool with everybody. Hope everyone's mellow, having a good time. I just thought I'd come on for a little bit just to say hey, just a quick show. It might rain in Albuquerque tonight. Right now it's 79 degrees Fahrenheit in Albuquerque. And let's see. The sun set about an hour ago at 8:17. Tomorrow the sun will rise at 6:08 a.m. and it'll set at 8:17. These days are long and good. And my mistake, I just gave you the info for today, the 21st. Tomorrow is July 22nd, 2025, and the sun will rise at 6:08. It'll set at 8:16 p.m. Still nice and late. We got plenty of daytime, plenty of daylight. It's nice. What are you guys up to? Anybody out there? If not, I'll just carry on with the show. Yeah, that's the main thing, you guys. That's the main thing. Like, what is this joint? What is this joint? What is this place? Let's see. There's a video that's going around right now. Kind of touches on the Mandela effect, and I'm going to put the link for it in the description of the show, but I won't do that till later. Trying to find the okay. Okay, it's called People Have Changed and It's Actually Terrifying. People have changed and it's actually terrifying. And the name of the channel is Jacob Whelan, last name Whelan. I don't want to show any of it here. I don't want to get into any kind of copyright hassle. But let me put the link in the chat right now. People have changed and it's actually terrifying. And what this dude is saying is basically, there's no way we're on the same earth that we were. And he points out all these changes. He points out all these changes that have been made in the last 5-10 years and how people's behaviors have changed. He lays out some pretty good examples, and you guys ought to check it out. Let's see. Okay. The link is in the description now. Yeah, check that out. It's like a 20-minute video, but it's a pretty good talk. He's a pretty good public speaker, and it's pretty interesting to listen to. So check that out. And let's get moving here. I want to discuss something that Ian observed at We Are Awake, the We Are Awake channel. And he talked about this about 3 weeks ago. He was talking about how when he's driving down the west coast of California, and he's looking at these beautiful houses that are built right there on the beach, right there on the ocean, basically against the ocean. or maybe against the highway that Ian was driving on, which is against the ocean. And what Ian was pointing out was that he never sees people outside these beautiful homes with these beautiful balconies facing the ocean. This million dollar view, this beautiful view that would be one of the big reasons why you'd buy the house in the first place, right? And he's pointing out that he never sees humans out there. He never sees humans. And what that reminded me of is that one thing I've been noticing in the past few years, living here next to the airport in Albuquerque, once in a while there will be what I call a rush hour. And it usually lasts for 2 hours, where airplanes are coming by from the north and northeast. Uh, once every 2 minutes at some points within that 2 hour window. Um, these these rush hours should be happening all the time. But instead they happen for a 2 hour window. It seems like just once or twice a week. And so many times there will be like no airplanes coming above for a long time. And I wonder if this really jives with the schedule that that the airport has for the flights that are coming in from the Northeast. You know, I'd really like to look into that, although that doesn't sound like fun research, but I feel like I should do it anyway, you know. Makes you really wonder, is it some kind of a practical joke, Earth? Like, are we in a terrarium being watched the way we watch movies and TV shows? Josh is here. Hey, Josh, welcome. You know, the way we are entertained by people on television or at the movies, you know, I'm really starting to think that that's what's going on around here. Like I feel like we're all being watched, maybe tested. Um, I don't know. Um, it does seem like it's like a riddle for us to be figuring out. Call for zero. What's happening, man? Great video about Nixon calling the moon. Did you guys know that? New viewers, that Richard Nixon supposedly called the moon on a landline telephone in that very first moon landing from 1969. Wasn't it July 20th, which was yesterday, the anniversary of one of the great lies? You know, my old man told me that when he was, I guess he would have been like 21 or 22 at the time. Let me think. 21. He thought it looked fake at the time, but he just kept it to himself. But he totally noticed it. Like that. Like he's watching TV. You can imagine watching a black and white TV at that time, and it's pretty cool that he was perceptive enough to see that. Like, this looks fake. But also, he wasn't about to say anything because those were the times. What's going on? Call for zero. Let's wrap, man. It's an informal show. I just thought I'd come on, see who's out there, see if anyone wanted to say hey. The color of the day, people. The color of the day is green. The color of the day is green. You know why? Because we were green several years ago when we were first learning about this great deception, when we were first learning about how truth has to be really snuck to get to. We were green. We were greenhorns, rookies, frosh, wet under the ears for thinking that we could actually talk to people about this stuff. I mean, we have learned. And if you're new to this kind of truth, people, if you're out there and you're new, you've just learned about the Mandela effect. You've just learned that the earth is flat. You've just learned these things. You've learned that we've been lied to about everything. Don't go talking to people about that. You'll be glad you didn't. You know, old friends, family, certainly don't discuss it with people at work. You know, this stuff ain't for everybody. Not everybody can see this stuff. Not everybody can see this stuff. We were green for thinking that that we could have an adult conversation with somebody about something as far out as the Mandela effect. But now we know. We know now. Yeah. Yeah. There's the white sun. It was always white to me, people. It was always white to me. There's a lot of people in the Mandela effect community that insist it used to be like a light yellow. They describe it like as a light colored, light hazy yellow. But in my reality, it was always white when you look at it. But when you look in the science books and encyclopedias, it'll be yellow, like the illustrations that they show. But I do remember a conversation when I was in kindergarten where a couple of kids were arguing about what color the sun was because we were all coloring. And they walked over to the window and looked up. Back when schools had windows, see, this was the 70s. And it was settled. It's white. And that was that. But who knows? One thing I think, another thing I've heard from people who say that they remember it being yellow is that it wasn't so scorching hot. That's what they say. They say that it wasn't like as hot as it is now. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that when it gets to be like what photographers call the golden hour, which is like the hour right before the sun hits the horizon and leading up to it, during that time, and actually maybe even 3 hours before it hits the horizon. Um, to me, that sunlight at that time of day, every time I see it, it reminds me of when I was a child in the 70s and 80s. Like, is that because the sun was more mellow back then? I don't know. I mean, just look at it. It does kind of look artificial. We don't really know anymore what's organic and what isn't. Because like I said, we could be in some kind of oversized terrarium and the subject of someone's entertainment, someone's watchful gaze. Tiffany Vinci's here. Hi, Tiff. What's going on? What's the weather like, people? I bet it's mellow in San Diego and warm in Las Vegas, Nevada. Any rain, anybody? We got rain, but only in spots of town yesterday. And it might rain tonight and tomorrow night. I hope it does. What are you guys drinking tonight? I'm doing the hard stuff tonight. Virgin Coke on the rocks. I was watching playback from my last show. I deleted it because I sounded angry. And then I checked out the Sandy Diva show the other night, and people were angry there, fighting. Angry fights all over the place. Not Sandy, not her fault. She's always mellow. Well, not always, right? You can never say never, never say always. Yeah, lots of people in the community are fighting again. And I'm bringing this up just to give everyone a friendly reminder to just stay cool, stay mellow. Almost, huh? Right now, call. It's about 100. Wow. Guys, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind living in Nevada where you get 110 degrees hot in the summer but it's pretty mild all year round. I don't like the cold. Beautiful day today in San Diego. I've never heard of a shit weather day in San Diego, but what do I know? Good to see you, Gary Thorcell. Thanks for dropping in to say hello. He says he's working right now. 99 in Texas. All right. Let's see. When I started this show, it was 79 in Albuquerque. Right now, it's 78. '66. Wow. Cool ocean currents, or cool ocean breeze. All right. See, I'll show you guys this Sony Walkman that I just purchased. Pretty excited about this purchase. Take a look at it. It's a Sony TCM 20. That means it probably was made in the 90s. Because right now, the last one they did was the TCM 200, but the whole Sony TCM series is awesome. This one, I remember this feature from, that's why I said 90s. It could be the early aughts, but it has a double recorded time. You see that? That means if you put in a 90-minute tape and you hit double, it'll record at half speed so that you get 180 minutes instead of 90. But that was just one of those features that I always just ignored, and I'm going to do that this time. A lot of Sony fans don't purchase the well, let me show you this other feature first. You see where it says VOR, voice operated recording. That means you it's been a while, but I remember that you had the option of using voice operated. So if you're recording a lecture, for example, and there's like a moment of silence, let's say for a few minutes, the cassette will stop recording automatically. And it'll start again once it hears sound. So that's kind of a corny feature, and it dissuades a lot of Sony fans from purchasing these particular models. But I know that if you just deactivate the voice operated recording and put it at normal speed as opposed to double, that is a super high quality recording device right there. And it was $34.95. That's a steal. So it's going to arrive at the end of July. Right now I have a tape recorder, but it doesn't work that great. So I'm super happy to get this. You guys, these are like $200 things, and I got it for $35. Let's look at the other pictures here. Can you see it? Are you guys? Okay. It looks 90s, doesn't it? I think that pause is strange, the way you slide it as opposed to pressing a pause button. But that might be how you activate the voice inducing recording. We'll see. We'll see. I have a good feeling about this. I'm going to clean it real good when I get it. Well, anyway, have you guys seen these pocket-sized Reese's cups? They're awesome. If you don't want to overdo it, just get the pocket size one. That's all. I'm going to have one of these in a little while. Yeah, just one pocket size Reese's. Try to not to overdo it, right? Yeah, it was a great deal. Super happy. Me too. Me too, Tiffany. Especially the mixtapes, the homemade ones. Tiffany says, "I wish I'd kept my cassettes." Yeah. Hmm. Let's see. Let's tell some corny jokes, or maybe not. There was something that I wanted to read off, though. Where did it go? Oh yeah, I was thinking about the movie Convoy from the '70s, a trucker epic starring Chris Christopherson and Ali McGraw. Um, Part of Convoy, just a small part, was filmed in my hometown, Las Vegas, New Mexico. And yeah, I was thinking about that. Um, when we see those orbs at night, and usually they're just one at a time. Earlier this summer, I saw two going at the same speed, one following the other, um, across the sky. And of course, sometimes we see a whole series of them following one by one. I've counted up to 70 or 100 sometimes. Sometimes we call them trains, soul trains. I've heard that one. um, I'm going to call them convoys from now on. Because a lot of people look at those orbs and they're so pretty as they fly across the sky. They just look like normal stars that are not glittering, and they're going across the sky. They look so pretty and harmless. So a lot of people think they're angels and or like souls, you know. Um, but I don't see why we would think that they're anything good, you know. I don't mean to be negative. I'm just being realistic. We live in a strange, evil construct. This strange, what might be a terrarium. Uh, I don't. It seems like there's a small chance that they are good, and a greater chance that they are bad. But bring it on. I mean, we live in an evil world, and fearlessness and being good is what protects a person. Authenticity, the truth, and of course, love. Um, yeah, yeah. and we're seeing technology go more advanced and more advanced every minute, and it never has leveled out. It continues to advance. We're getting to a point where I'm starting to wonder, what is this blue sky? You know, why is it that when I was taking a lot of acid back in the early 90s, every time I looked at the sky on acid, I would see little, what looked like tiles in the sky, almost like a parquet floor. Um, if you're a basketball fan, the Boston Garden where the Celtics play is a parquet floor. Look at this moon footage that I shot on my cheap Samsung 8-inch tablet camera. And if you press pause, in certain spots, you can see like, these strange, like almost hieroglyphic looking things. I've shown these before, but I've suggested before, yeah, if you look closely, you could see them. Um, and as I've speculated before, what if these cheap cameras are actually picking up things maybe on a spiritual level that we don't even know about? We can't see. But I'm starting to wonder, people, like, what is the sky and what is nature? I mean, could every plant and flower and animal be somehow connected to some computer, some big terrarium, artificial surrounding, practical joke world? What's going on here? What's going on here? Those Sony tape recorders are so good, you guys. I'm telling you, especially that TCM series that I was showing you. Those the recordings from those sound like they were made in a recording studio. Um, you just can't multi-track. But whenever I play solo stuff to people recorded on those, they're always shocked when I tell them it was recorded on one of those, because they just figured it was a studio recording. Let's see. Call for Zero says, I had an observation around 1969. There were 16 or 17 lights over Long Island, New York, at a high altitude, moving fast. There were at least 6 of us watching them. Classic UFO formation, not in line, staggered. Jeez. A convoy. Looks like we got us a convoy. All right, people. Well, maybe we'll just call it a night. I just wanted to come out and see. Oh, wait a minute. I wanted to talk about gang stalkers. Yeah. Sympathy. Okay, here's another story. Sympathy for the gang stalker. Sympathy for the gang stalker. I told you guys a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, this poor gang stalker, I'm starting to have sympathy for these people. This poor girl showed up at like around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 3:30 in the afternoon, across the street from my house, and then slightly over, like a half a house over. And so she's parked there, perfect, where she could look into my living room. And she was sitting there for a long time, wearing shades and with the window down, like for hours. And then she rolled her window up. She was out there for hours. And Jared Jaguar suggested that I JJ told me to take a banana and put it in the muffler, like Axel Foley from Beverly Hills Cop. JJ, if you're listening, all I have to say to that is down, 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 down. But this poor girl stayed all the way until 5:14 a.m. the next morning. So she was there for 14 hours. Uh, I guess they thought that was going to, intimidate me or throw me off my game. And I just kind of bananas. Yeah. No, I never saw her smoking. Um, but what a life. And a lot of these gang stalkers, I think some of them are people who are like reprobates. They get into trouble. They're faced with jail time. Um, and the cops cut them a deal. You move to Albuquerque and do this sort of thing and no jail for you. And I also think other gang stalkers are people like a lot of these rich kids that I met in high school when they chopped up the boundaries of the city, and I found myself going to this newly built school that um, that was known as a rich kid school, even though my family was poor. I went to a lot of people at that school are poor, but they come from poor families. But a lot of them, most of them, are rich kids. Why am I telling you about that? What was I saying? Forgive me. Oh, gang stalkers. Yeah. I think a lot of gang stalkers are the reprobate types where they cut a deal with police, but other kinds are like these rich kid types that are born into these families, these strange families that are involved in God knows what. So, it would be hard to say no to the family. It would be really hard. So I don't know. I have a certain amount of sympathy for these people who don't seem to have a problem making other people miserable. A lot of these gang stalkers don't really have a conscience, but yeah, that's a hell of a way to put it. Born spies. Yeah. Anyway, it was crazy when she drove off. She drove off at a time when well, let me just tell you, okay, like I said, she showed up in the afternoon. And again, the idea is for me to get thrown off my game. But I just ignored her completely. You know, I know that they want you to like look outside every 20 minutes to see if they're still there, right? All night long. Anxiety. But I completely ignored her. And I never once looked outside until by coincidence, 5:14 a.m. I looked out there and right then she was turning on her engine, turning on her lights, and she drove out of there. And I think she saw me looking at her through the open blind. And I also think that, and this is just like a psychic intuitive thing that I picked up at the time. I had this strong feeling that the fact that I saw her leave shifted her downward within witchcraft. Hard to say, hard to articulate this, but like There's witchcraft. Witchcraft is part of this gang stalking thing. And the fact that I saw her leave on a witchcraft level, that's bad for her, good for me. And that means that girl wasted 14 hours of her witchy time only to get punked at the very end of it. Nate X, hello, sir. Yeah, I don't know what she ate. I never saw her eating. But there was that story. Maybe next time I'll do the the banana trick. Let's see. The other day I looked up top movies. Right now I'm into the year 1985. Um, I've been looking at comic books from that year. Um, I think I told you guys I saw Commando a few weeks ago, and then I saw Predator a week after that. So this week I have to, that was last week. So this week I have to watch another 80s movie. I haven't seen 80s movies in a while. These are some 1985 movies. Back to the Future, Brazil, Cocoon, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, The Color Purple, Fletch, Rambo, First Blood Part 2. I remember when that movie came out. It was 85, and it was the early part of the year, like April. And I was in the 8th grade. And the plan was for me and my buddies. We all had that last class of the day together. It was English class. And I told him, let's all go see that movie. We'll ride the bus. And we have to run because we might not make the bus. But if we catch that bus, we'll be able to catch the 3 o'clock show. And we'll be home by 5:30. And so that was the plan. Take the bus to the movie theater. And our cool 8th grade teacher let us go like 5 minutes early because I told her what was going on. And she was cool about it. Pale Rider, Fright Night. You guys remember that one? One of those cool horror movies that has like 4 short movies within the big movie. I wish all movies were like that. I don't like these long movies. Even 90 minutes is too long for me. Day of the Dead, To Live and Die in LA, Kiss of the Spider Woman, After Hours, The Breakfast Club, hey, Witness, The Goonies, Out of Africa, Rocky IV, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Clue. Let's see what else came out that year. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is so funny. That movie makes me laugh. Desperately Seeking Susan, The Falcon and the Snowman, Vampire Hunter, Jagged Edge, Silverado, Real Genius, Better Off Dead, The Color Purple, I think I said that, Young Sherlock Holmes, You know, a lot of these movies, I remember which theater I was in when I saw it. Commando. There we go. Check out Commando, you guys. It's pretty good. It's also cool because of Ray. What's her name? Ray Dawn Chung. Her performance in that movie almost steals the show. Believe it or not, from Arnold. Enemy Mine. Weird Science. The Last Dragon. Just One of the Guys. God, can you believe all these great movies came out in one year? The Jewel of the Nile. Teen Wolf. St. Elmo's Fire. Crush Groove. Legend. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Freddy's Revenge. Because you know when that came out, they were going to just put the lid on the whole franchise. There wouldn't be any more Nightmare on Elm Street movies after that. Freddy got his revenge. It's over. Rocky 4. National Lampoon's European Vacation. Spies Like Us. Police Academy 2. Their First Assignment. Friday the 13th. A New Beginning. Death Wish 3. King Solomon's Mines. And last but not least, Red Sonja. Yeah. Great. What's the weather like for people who haven't answered? You don't have to answer, anyone. Have you listened to Nathan Reynolds on the Confessionals? He was exactly that. Thank you, Tiffany. I'm going to write that down right now before I forget. And I've never heard of the Confessionals. I guess that's a YouTube series. But you know that dude Robert, who he's in charge of the Typical Skeptic podcast. I think his name is Robert something. He also says that, you know, when you talk about gang stalking, he says what I say about it. Whenever you talk about gang stalking, it's crazy talk and it's super hard to articulate. I'm getting better at it, though. Tiffany also says, I think Predator is true. You're not the first one who's talked about that cloaking thing. You guys know how often it is when I'm laying out on the lawn chair at night looking at the stars where I see something going across the sky and I look and it's like a little too late to see it. And from the corner of my eye, before I looked directly at the direction, it seemed like it was invisible, but not totally invisible, just like in Predator. And I mean, you guys, I see this all the time. I see it all the time, like guaranteed. If I lay out for 45 minutes, I'm going to see that a couple times. And every time it's you look in that direction. What was that? I know I saw something moving there across the sky. What was that? And you could either see a faint, invisible but not invisible thing, or not. It's trippy. Tales from the Crypt. Josh says 85 was the best movie year. We were so lucky to have lived in the 80s and 90s. Sometimes I wish I could take the blue pill. Yeah, you know, maybe in another reality somewhere, we all took the blue pill. And we are all NPCs somewhere, and we were all a pain in someone else's asses somewhere. Nate's in Virginia. Perfect day, he says. It's a perfect day. I was thinking about how much. Well, let me look at the chat real quick. Yeah, maybe one day I'll take the camera out for a walk with me, and we'll see if I encounter any high strangeness. What was I about to talk about, though? Oh, frequency, vibration. So much of this evil construct, this strange material world that we live in, is about vibration. You know, think of like and so much of it is tone of voice, like the way somebody speaks. It's almost like the NPC army has had training in this, or of course I've speculated that they're not real people, robot people perhaps. Um, they have this mastered. Whereas a real human with heart and soul will just kind of talk. But when I hear an evil person talking, it's different. It doesn't sound natural, and they're using strange tones. And I hate to call someone else an evil person without acknowledging that I have sinned and I've been evil. Maybe the devil possesses every single person in the world. Maybe at one point or another in their lives, every person in the world has been possessed by the devil. I hate to say that. Also, this whole thing is is so strange. I what a weird world we live in, you guys. It's a trip out. And I was thinking about just a perfect day. Drink sangria in the park. And then later, when it gets dark, we go home. Just a perfect day. Feed animals in the zoo. And then later, a movie too. And then home. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. Such a perfect day. You just keep me hanging on. You just keep me hanging on. Just a perfect day. Problems are left alone. Weekenders all night long. It's such fun. Just a perfect day. Make me forget myself. I thought I was someone else, someone good. Oh, it's such a perfect day. I'm glad I spent it with you. Oh, such a perfect day. You just keep me hanging on. You just keep me hanging on. Yeah, I was thinking about vibration and frequency and all that, and uh, and then I saw a post from another channel, Propagate This Light, where he was thinking about that stuff too. It was a post. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I started thinking, what is the way out of this place? And life does keep getting weirder by the day. It really does, you guys. It's ramping up. Um, High strangeness, I say, high strangeness. Um, Maybe there is a way to like crack the code. Maybe there is like some kind of a tangible solution. What if singing is the solution? Um, I'm not even kidding, you guys. I want to encourage everybody to sing. And if you feel like you can't sing, just remember your buddy Joe, who can't sing, but he sings anyway. I heard someone say recently, if you can't sing, then and you love music and you love to sing, well, just don't sing and play an instrument. But I say that's not right at all. I say if you feel like you can't sing, sing anyway. That's that's the easy solution to that. What if we were all singing more often, just in the privacy of our own home, with no audience, just singing alone? What if somehow that changed the world into some kind of a perfect world? And again, I'm not joking. Dean, you missed out. We were naming every cool movie from 1985. Good to see you, Dean. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah. You guys look at that drive-in picture. Can you see what movie is on the screen? It's Rocky 3. You guys remember which movies you saw at the drive-in? Some of those that I named, I saw at the drive-in. Better Off Dead, I saw at the drive-in. Um, and then from other years, I saw The Shining at the drive-in. The Island of Dr. Moreau from 1978. I saw that at the drive-in. Poltergeist. I saw Poltergeist at the drive-in. Good. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, you guys, more singing. What if it does for real? I mean, realistically, logically, and skeptically, I say, would if we live in a world of vibration and frequency, wouldn't singing, even if you were singing just by yourself, wouldn't that like change the vibe? And how could it not go up? Because singing is so innocent. What if what if that was the simple solution to all our problems? What if more singing makes the world a better place? In a real way, in a concrete way. That's my brother's friend Alton, late 70s. And that's Elaine. That's a girl that I liked in second grade. Navajo girl. And there's my Navajo friend Lester, also known as Lester Jr. We lived in Farmington, New Mexico. There's Richie Valens. That's the best portrait I've ever seen in my life of Richie Valens. And there's a bunch. Don't brag, Joe. It's not right. Hope everyone's having a great day. And I hope you all have a great week. Get ready to sign off here. Yeah, isn't that interesting? They destroyed all the bells that used to ring everywhere. You guys see this photo? This is Las Vegas, New Mexico. And I took this in 1989 and I watercolored parts of it, but it's a black and white photo. It's a clear blue sky, but it looks like those vanilla sky photos that we see. Maybe that's all those were. But they filmed Convoy on this street and leading up to the park. If you go straight up this street, you'll see there's that park right there. That's the locally famous Plaza Park. And in the movie Easy Rider, there was a parade. And it was filmed at that park, same park where they filmed the parts of Convoy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Convoy with Chris Christopherson. Pretty cool movie. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. I'm going to say goodnight. Hope you all have a great week. And I'm going to try to come at you again sometime soon. So take care, and thanks for joining me. Stay cool. Stay mellow. Stay blessed.